Today on Rappler. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. tells Vice President Sara Duterte the truth cannot be killed a la Tokhang. The House extends the detention of Vice President Sara Duterte's Chief of Staff Zuleika Lopez to 5 more days. The government says Vice President Sara Duterte will possibly face a gamut of consequences, from disbarment to legal liabilities. Response teams from different government agencies helped put out a massive fire in Tondo, Manila. And Dwight Ramos sits out Gilas Pilipinas' game versus Hong Kong following a calf injury. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. calls on his former ally, Vice President Sara Duterte, to answer the House's questions on how her office has spent public funds instead of resorting to distractions and force in trying to change the story.
Kakabahala ang mga pahayag na narinig natin nitong mga nakarang araw. Nandyan ang walang pakundangang pagmumura at ang pagbabanta ng planong ipapatay ang ilan sa atin. Yang ganyang kriminal na pagtatangka ay hindi dapat pinapalampas. Yan ay aking papalagan. Ang katotohanan ay hindi dapat itokhang.
This after Duterte said in a midnight briefing, she spoke to an assassin and instructed them to kill Marcos, First Lady Liza Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez if she were killed.
Sinabi ko sa kanya, kapag pinatay ako, patayin mo si BBM, si Liza Araneta, at si Martin Romualdez. No joke. No joke. Nagbilin na ako, ma'am.
The House Good Government Committee extends Vice President Sara Duterte's Chief of Staff, Zuleika Lopez's contempt citation and detention for 5 more days. This after Lopez did not appear before the committee on Monday after sending an excuse letter. It remains unclear whether Lopez will serve the extension at the Veterans Memorial Medical Center, where she has been since Saturday, or at the House detention facility. Meantime, Duterte says Lopez expressed her desire to quit after being deeply traumatized in the House detention facility. On Friday night, the House committee ordered the transfer of Lopez to the Women's Correctional Facility, which she refused to comply with. She then had a panic attack. She was initially brought to VMMC, but was transferred to St. Luke's Medical Center in Quezon City. Lopez was brought back to VMMC after her condition stabilized. Vice President Sara Duterte will have to answer before the National Bureau of Investigation and possibly face a gamut of consequences, from disbarment to legal liabilities. This after she said she had laid down a plan to kill President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, as well as House Speaker Martin Romualdez, should she die herself. Justice Undersecretary Jesse Andres in a palace briefing says, the premeditated plot to assassinate the president, as declared by the self-confessed mastermind, will now face legal consequences. Andres confirms they would be issuing a subpoena to Duterte. Andres adds, grave threats and sedition are obviously being considered, but we are not making that determination now. Meantime, supporters of Vice President Duterte defend her controversial statements. Joven Sambade says the former Davao mayor is misunderstood, adding the Duterte family are not murderers. Another supporter, Mila, says Duterte only meant to ensure her safety. Over 1,000 supporters of the Dutertes joined a prayer rally at Rizal Park, Davao City on Saturday, November 23. A massive fire engulfed the residential area in Isla Puting Bato in Tondo, Manila on Sunday, November 24. Response teams from multiple government agencies helped put the fire out. The Philippine Air Force deployed air assets that did heli-bucket operations, which means dumping water in areas engulfed by the fire. Deployed for the heli-bucket operations were a Black Hawk helicopter, Bell 205, and a Sokol helicopter. The Philippine Coast Guard also assisted in putting out the fire. The first fire alert was reported at 8:02 a.m. Authorities declared Task Force Charlie, which means at least 32 fire trucks should be deployed to help control the fire at 11:51 a.m. The Tutuban Fire Volunteer Association also responded to the fire incident. It took 6 hours before the fire was put under control and another 2 hours before officials declared the area cleared. The Philippine Air Force says the fire devastated over 1,000 structures and displaced approximately 2,000 families. Families are currently housed at the Delpan Evacuation Center in Manila. Crowd favorite Dwight Ramos sat it out as Gilas Pilipinas rallied to a 93-54 home rout of Hong Kong to wrap up the second window of the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers on Sunday, November 24. Head coach Tim Cone revealed he opted to bench Ramos after the star guard sustained a calf injury in the Philippines' historic win over New Zealand 3 days ago.
I wasn't holding him out for any other reason but the fact that he had pulled his calf muscle in the late stages of the New Zealand game.
Fans noticed Ramos' absence as the game continued, with the 11,000-strong crowd chanting, "We want Dwight." Ramos will soon return to the Japan B League, where he plays for the Leibanga Hokkaido. And that's today's wrap. I'm Kara Oliver. Thank you for watching. Click the link below for the full story. Follow us on Rappler's YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok.